Welcome, my name is Amanda, and I'm in Battleground Games and Hobbies in Abington, Massachusetts. And Battleground is a game and hobby store in the greater Boston area. I have 3 stores, one here in Abington, one down south of us in Norton, and one up north in Saugus. I'm in Abington today because 1, that's where our streaming rig is, and 2, it's where we have a loft where I can sit up above all the stuff that's happening behind me. It just sort of looks like a little ledge behind me. I'm actually a story up from the main store. There's a store championship going on this afternoon that's starting in about half an hour, so that might get a little noisy and then very quiet. But I'm here. I'm going to be painting some stuff. We're going to be doing... Why did that do that? There we go. We're going to be painting figures from the Princes of the Universe expansion of the Highlander board game. So the Highlander board game is a game that came out, it was put out by Riverhorse. It's quite a fun game. I quite enjoy it. And I'm a big Highlander fan, mostly series, but obviously the movie was amazing and it's what got me into it. And I don't know, I just love it. I love this stuff. And I was really excited when they were putting out a board game because I know Riverhorse does an absolutely amazing job with figures, and I enjoy painting figures. So I was really looking forward to getting to paint these, and they are proving to be an absolute blast to paint. I finished the base game a couple of weeks ago, and now I'm working on the expansion. So I'll show off a few of those before we get started. So base game, we've got dude killed in the beginning of the movie, Iman Facile. He's the guy Connor faces in the parking garage at the very beginning of the movie. He's got the most boring outfit in the entire world. Look at that man. That is a boring man. We have one of the main characters. We've got Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, and his tartan. Tartan is a gigantic pain to paint, by the way. Plaid, in general, is really difficult to paint because it's woven. And when you think about a plaid, you're thinking about not just the fact that you've got colors going vertically and horizontally, but also when they meet, they do different things because you're weaving fibers. So you have to be delicate. So, and he's got the MacLeod claymore there. We've got Ramirez with his peacock feather cloak. That was a lot of fun to paint. That was a good time. We've got Sunda Castigear. His jacket, I'm still not happy with it, but if I keep touching it, I will hate it even more. So I'm just going to leave it. Gonna stop touching it, have done with it. And then we've got our main villain, the Kurgan. Learned a fun thing about the Kurgan. The Kurgan's armor, while I was looking him up for reference stuff, his right hand, the gauntlet, has armor only on one finger. Can you guess which one it is? If you guessed this one, you're correct. So I painted that in. You can see he's only got armor on his middle finger. So when he flips people the bird, he won't lose a finger. And then we've got 2 original characters that were created for the game, and I quite like them. This is Naminaga Minamoto, also known as the Gray Ghost. But I decided she needed a bright floral kimono. I looked up a traditional kimono for this, or I looked up pictures of traditional kimonos. This is a modern kimono that this was based off of, but done in a traditional style, from what I could tell. So, really pleased with that. I'm pleased with the gold obi. There's a word for what that silk. It's that silk that looks almost like a wood grain. There's a word for it, and I'm blanking on what the word is. It'll come to me while I'm painting something else. And the other original character for the game is Talia. Hey, Pie. Oh, thank you. Talia here is Mesoamerican, and I believe she's Mayan, and she carries a macuahuitl, which is basically a cricket bat in terms of the shape of it. If you think about the shape of a cricket bat, it's like that, but with sort of a pointed end. But along the edge here are obsidian chips that have been wedged into the edges of it. So you've basically got both a bludgeoning weapon and a slicing weapon at the same time. It is absolutely unbelievably nasty. So she's wearing camo pants. She's got a backstory that I find really fascinating. So those are the original characters. So what's cool about the expansion is that the expansion takes the same characters and gives you either their original lifetime sort of look or a modern look, depending on what you got in the base game. So in the base game, when we have Connor MacLeod of the Clan MacLeod, we get Russel Nash as the expansion. Same guy, just different look for him. So I'm actually going to be doing a little bit of work on Russel here. I'm mostly happy with his jacket, but I want to do some stuff on his shirt. I don't like how his shirt is looking that much. I'm fine with his jeans. His jeans are fine. They're dad jeans from the 80s, so I'm fine with that. But I want to do some work on his hair, on his skin, on the katana, and his shirt. So we're going to do some detail work on him today. But then Talia, who is in her modern day garb, I gave her some camo pants. Here she is in her original getup. It's a little booby. It's a little butt cheeky. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. Because she had sort of set herself up as a goddess figure, which is fine. She's still carrying that macuahuitl. I haven't painted that yet. I was sort of mid-painting job on her last week. I was working on these pheasant feathers when I had to stop painting. So we're going to work on her. This is Ikamu Sek, or Takne. That is Ramirez, as he was as a young man, his original life. He's carrying this khopesh, which is a bronze or copper curved blade. It's Egyptian. He's from ancient Egypt. He was a smartass, is basically the backstory they've given him. So he was a total smartass who mouthed off to, he was a slave, he got crushed by a block of marble. Oops. And when they pulled the block off of him, he regenerated and came back to life. Also, oops. Other slaves hid him. They thought he was, blessed by the gods. Eventually, the pharaoh got wind of it and was like, "No one's a god but me." And was like, "Fine, you're gonna live forever? Sure, you can live forever in my tomb." And had him locked up in the pyramid with him after the pharaoh died. So the conclusion I draw there is that either the pharaoh had a very short lifespan and died shortly after this, or they managed to keep Ikamu Sek locked up for decades after the fact. And also done is Modern Kurgan. He was a challenge because he's wearing almost all black with lots of little highlights, which means you want those to stand out. You want to have that actually look like something on the model. So I had to sort of play around with that. He's got his tattoo. He's got his skull tattoo with a little ponytail coming off of it. He's got a whole bunch of feathers and stuff coming off. the buckles. He's got chains and stuff on his shoes. So, yeah, he was a challenge. He was a real challenge. So, he's done. Russel, Nash, and Talalli, Talia's original form, they're in progress. So, I'll be doing some work on them. And then we'll try to get some base coats on Iman Fasil in his Crusader outfit. You may be thinking to yourself, Iman Fasil was a Crusader? He took the name from someone else. Sure. And Amy Gray, who is Naminaga Minamoto's modern form. I can't say I'm super thrilled with how high that skirt is slit, but I guess it gives her more mobility. So I guess we'll run with that. So we're going to actually do a base coat on her, and then we'll do some detail work on these two. So, okay, normally when I do streams, I am realizing I am very tilted. Not like tilted, angry tilted, but tilted like the camera has me. Yeah, it's weird. Anyway, I did a thing. Normally when I stream, we try to have some music running. I don't think we have any music running right now. That's because we don't make money off this. I don't work for the store. I'm not getting paid or anything. I'm just doing this for fun. And we want music that's not going to get the stream muted in the VOD. And we have a musician we really like for that, and that's Miracle of Sound, but I don't think Andy has it up and running. So I'm listening to some music, and I'm really amused by the music that I'm listening to. Because, so my husband and I are big fans of we're big fans of I don't want to go red. I know what I'm going to do with her. Okay, cool. We're big fans of Mystery Science Theater. And Mystery Science Theater at one point did a short called Progress Island, USA. Progress Island, USA was, it's about Puerto Rico. And that's great. Andy and I have always loved the music in Progress Island, USA. It's this great, like, 70s music. It's wonderful stuff. We looked up the IMDb page and found all the tracks that are in the short, and I went online to Spotify and made myself a playlist of all of those tracks. It turns out they're off of these albums that seem to be like they were orchestral things recorded as backing tracks for shorts and movies and stuff. There's the first album is The Rhythm of Modern Life and Vaudeville Themes, Soft Horizons, Great Expectations, Flamboyant Themes, and Move with the Times. I just love it. So, all right. Let's get ourselves So I think what I'm going to do, I have a feeling that this is supposed to be like Because I think River Horse only has like I don't think they have like a painting of her. Like, I don't think they have a picture of her painted. Had they had her envisioned? I know I found a picture of like their version of some of these other characters. Okay. Well,
yeah, so whenever this guy can I get a blessing from that guy? Can I get a blessing from Andrew? Well, we talked about yes.
so the reason I'm waiting to do Castigear, anything with Castigear, is that I actually want to do with Castigear, I want to, yeah, there we go. Castigear, I want to get some good looks at his costume from the movie. So. So Amy Gray's character, her backstory is that she was, when she was mortal, she was a noble woman. She came from a good house. And she'd always sort of had an urge to learn to fight, but she wasn't really allowed to. It's considered not something a high-born woman did. When she eventually did die, a Ronin traveling through the area, who was also immortal, offered to take her on as a student. And the two of them traveled together as sort of a superhero duo, the Red Ronin and the Gray Ghost. And they, they're champions of the underdog, would help the poor and destitute. And they lived their lives like that for a long time until he died. And then when he died, she went into seclusion she decided she did not want to be dealing with people anymore for a while. So she lived sort of in isolation for a long time until the pull of the gathering, when she left her isolation and decided it's time for me to go rejoin society so that I can face these other immortals.
Well, I mean, he doesn't see it that way. He's like, no, yeah, when you settle down, you'll fit. Right now, in the current year, the best way to keep player bases and if I bought Brawl back in 2008, it doesn't have to be Brawl.
Or like, games as a service is good until it gets like a amount of companies that
Right, well, like, honestly, the nation here, this is League of Legends, but I see it. Oh, yeah, sure. All of them, the nation of fighting games, our sectors are making operators. CSGO, I don't think CSGO mods
We're actually going to put her in leggings. So I don't really like the idea of her fighting bare-legged like that.
like live service games that are all kind of like competing for like the attention of the same player base, or stretching in that player base. Like if I'm a shooter player, I can play CS:GO. Let's throw Battle Royale there anyways, like Fortnite. Like there are only so many games that I would have the bulk of the amount of time.
Right, but at that point then, the better game that was got big on better than either A, how do you get there to do it? The game is cheaper, and your expansion is cheaper. So, I can play, let's say CSGO is 10 and R6 are 8, but like R6 is $10 cheaper than CSGO in every way. Maybe that's a reason to play football for internally. CSGO is better. And then the worst game is that I can see the you cannot physically play why Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! Had insert new cards
She's also like fighting in high heels, which I gotta question. Like, no, you kick those off. Those don't really look like good fighting heels.
Battleground. We are about to start the Standard Store Championship. Is there anybody who's playing Standard who has not signed up yet for the Store Championship?
We're actually going to give her dark red leggings. We're going to give her like burgundy leggings. And the reason I'm doing this is, one, because I have her wearing red in the original, her earlier life. But also because even though she's the gray ghost and is probably wearing all gray, I like the idea that she's paying tribute to her first teacher by wearing some red for the Red Ronin. I also really like burgundy and gray together as a color combo. I'll figure out like where foot ends and shoe begins in a little bit. This is what I mean by these do not look like the most supportive of fight-in heels. I'm not saying you can't fight in high heels. People do. I'm saying that like you want good supportive heels. You don't want like ankle breaking heels. We're also going to give her a gray cardigan. She is wearing a sweater. And we're going to put some red flowers on it. I got blood on her sword. It could have gone much poorer.
Whatever, this is actually getting us down, so. That's right. This is even better than this. Nice, perfect. What happened? I will resharpen it. I'm going to sharpen it. 2 out of 3. I'm resharpening. I grabbed this stone and I started trying to sharpen it. Yes, I know winning that game. I had the perfect draw, and I did not have the one, and I didn't have
have a sales weight to actually make it so easy. You can get kind of go here's the best rather than hold that spell here. You didn't have it, which is what
I tell them to put it back to my hand.
counter spells.
Well, when we get to this down, we can do what is he? Stack? He's made out of like emerald. We could sell him, but he'd come back. Yes, that's the point. We sell him to the ball. Oh, wait. Like I battle on us. What time period is it? The time period where we don't have what we're talking about. What's the soda machine? What's soda? Cursing sword explain. This is sword explain. Alright, what's the soda machine? Did I make money off of it? Why?
What is soda?
Did I make it?
Everyone makes it.
Are there more of you? No, but there's lots of them. In my hand.
So hold on.
Let's bring it to the bottom of the ocean. I don't have to. You want to go to the bottom of the ocean, Jared?
Yeah. Let's go back to, wait, it was a town before. Let's go back to the town.
Guys, infinite money. We found the infinite money.
Yes.
Hey, probably like 100 gold on top of that. Hey, you sword in the army, I mean just sword. Not that. We're going to town.
Yeah. One on
The castle one. Is it good?
No, it's one on the castle one. Thanks for being specific.
The one on the western front. Idiot.
Alright, listen.
About 300, maybe 400.
600.
You think I was there when I went in?
More like 4.
Probably.
Wait,
You could have been in there recently.
wait, how did you even get home? How did you even get into the cave?
I don't remember.
Fair enough. So, wait, this now, this is let's go here, we'll sell them this or whatever.
Hey you, what you gonna do?
I don't know. Yeah, but
Can I call you Yankovic? My friends call me. I don't understand.
yeah.
I learned that language just to understand.
Yes,
Never mind. Jared's like, damn, you're like, hold on.
unless you were seeing the love spot the back out and sell it.
Yes.
I didn't know you were doing it.
I'm both evil animal. I do evil. 15.
Oh yeah, no, I know, I agree, but I'm just like, so
Actually, no,
15.
17. Yeah. The spots and feet don't exist in written language.
Spoken language.
Sure, I mean spoken. You should say accent. Can I charm him? Can I try?
You guys speak in version. Speak it over. Speak common and whatever that was.
Hey, you.
Turns out the 5-minute telling you guys.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. That'd be fine. Wait. He doesn't need to. Watch us all die.
Yeah, what was the spell first?
I already explained change.
Yeah, let's go crazy.
Yeah, let's go back. He literally died in this session.
Yeah, just like store as much blood as you can.
It's like wine. You just store your barrels.
Oh, history of Talalli.
Sword man. Want to play rock, paper, scissors? I'm bored. Okay, entertain me. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh wait, haha, you don't have hands. Yeah, play again. Okay, rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock. No, I'm playing how you play. You just say it. You say it well. Stay consistent.
Steal one, you get build a pressure.
You want to play tic-tac-toe? Okay.
Yeah, I went
I pick paper.
X, top right. I'll play Nexus.
Oh, top left. I quit. Why? Wait, hold on. Oh, bottom left. X bottom right, I win. Wait, hold on. Are you stupid? How did you do it? What? You put it in the middle.
X top right, middle right.
What? No, I thought you were doing it this and then this. I was like, that's stupid, but okay. Oh! I didn't hear you say bottom, I heard you say middle. This time I'll go first. Okay.
No, wait.
Oh, top right.
Wait, that doesn't kill him.
Okay.
X, Y.
Oh, bottom.
We want to just not say
Oh, middle left. Oh, bottom. X top left. Good job. You guys can walk one more game.
That was too good.
All of you that live here are very blind. This is kind of I think so. Guys are saying you killed one of them. No, I think we're going to I thought we were in Castle.
It's a half day walk. Decent sized dog.
Oh. Okay, let's get on the ship and go to I.
No, I'm going to.
I knew that was one.
See, when the world ends, no one's gonna like it.
I like that. The sword.
Like I was one of those last like
That's exactly right. So, just I don't want Saugus sword, but in softwood. So,
the guy running from the old guy's right. The guy got out.
Yeah. How evil. You have to scale it on 1 to 10.
that was an evil. That was a weapon evil.
Scale it on 1 to 10 right now. I don't know. I haven't given you one. Can you just give me a rating on how evil it is? Like on 1 to 10. That means it's not. Well.
Definitely worse than whatever they have. I don't want to make one of them my name. I think he shoots you on block a little bit. Zero turn every turn is worse. Yes.
Hey. Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah. That can happen. You know, when you have pizza on a bagel. So, pie. Pie. Can we talk about Arcade Spirits? Yeah, I've been told that same thing. It means you can have pizza anytime. It's pretty awesome. So I have an important question for you. Oh, so you followed Naomi in the basement during Hamza. I have some important questions for you. Question 1. How do you feel about Hamza? Also, yeah, that got real. Polybius is no joke. Are you calling Hamza Jesus roller skating Batman? Because he could be. Hamza's pretty awesome. I do love Hamza. He's a lot of fun. I find him an interesting figure. I kind of wish I could romance him. So, Next important question. Did you finish a playthrough? I'm going to let her sit for a bit, because if I go over her too much, she's going to end up... No, we can't romance Hamza. So basically, everyone that you can romance... I have a suspicion about Juniper, given some of the names in the prizes. I have a suspicion that maybe Juniper is romanceable, but mostly, for the most part, all of the official romanceable options are the people that you meet that you are then scoring against. So if you hit Q and look at like who you're rated with, those are your romance options. Oh, yeah, and yeah, that end of level 2 when you're playing Polybius and you meet Donna, and it's a whole thing. Yeah, what was it? What's the... Hold on a second. Yeah, Shade used depression. It's super unfortunate. I took some screenshots of things because I was enjoying them so much. Super unfortunate indeed. Yeah, the whole Polybius sequence is real. It's really good. That, when we hit that, when I hit that particular section of my first playthrough, I was like, okay, you know what? I thought this was going to be like a cute little virtual novel with romance that was like really inclusive and really cool, that had a little touch of like apathy and maybe a little depression, but wow. That was a gut punch, I'll be honest. I don't have pizza on a bagel, but I do have sesame seeds on a donut, so. And I mean, it is intensely cute. It pushes a button. There's also a lot going on there. So, next important question. Who are you thinking about for romance? So for anyone not familiar, Insidious Pie in the chat and I are talking about a game called... Oh, I'm gonna go back and watch your VOD. Insidious Pie and I are talking about a game that came out this past week, and called Arcade Spirits. It's a virtual novel. It's available on Steam, and I know it's got an itch.io link. It's available in a bunch of places. The itch.io, I think, when they get the biggest cut of, so they prefer that. But you can get it through Steam, and I think it's like $20. It's well worth it. The replayability is 100% worth the cost of admission. The player character is very customizable in terms of skin tone, hair color, pronouns, and name, which is really awesome. And then you basically get to like choose your personality as you go through, but the game is also really forgiving in that it shows you where you're at, and it gives you a lot of chances to correct course if you're not where you want to be, which is really nice. The only reason I know that is because they were talking about it in the New Day Tuesday stream for Lure, and Two Flower was in that chat and mentioned that they do get a slightly bigger cut. Yeah, I'm frequently frustrated in like dating sims and any game that allows me a romance option on anything that there isn't a chance, like a poly option. I saw that. That's super awesome. I saw you mention that on the Twitters. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, I understand that it would make things a little more complicated in terms of the writing and the coding of it, because you'd have to specifically allow not just for you to be dating two people, but theoretically you'd want to acknowledge it. And that means that you would either have to have only like a couple of scripted poly options to be like, you could go with these two people or these two people or these two people. Or you would, if you, let's say you have 6 romanceable options like you do in Arcade Spirits, you would have to then code for options for Ashley and Teo, or Ashley and Gavin, or Ashley and Naomi, or you see what I mean? Like there are a lot more scripted bits that you would have to put in. So I can see why it's a daunting sort of idea for someone making a visual novel or a dating sim. Yeah, and but I could see them being like, well, we want to give people options, but it still adds one more layer of complexity, which, I mean, it is one more layer of complexity because there's a little more juggling involved from what I understand from friends who are poly. But from a coding perspective, in terms of like scripting and possibly recording voices and so on, I can understand why it's more daunting and so it doesn't end up getting done. I would love for it to be a thing that would be either like a DLC add-on to pack in a few more scripted events that allow you to do 2 people, or to give sort of if you're dating this person, you also have the option of these 2. That like these 3 work together. We have scripted options for the combos of these 3, and these 3 are, yeah. But yeah, I think DLC for that sort of thing would be possible. Just thinking back to like my old computer programming days and thinking about how to like include those options, I think it could be possible. It would be an opt-in thing. But this game in particular is really good about opt-in because right at the outset, it tells you, do you want to eventually have a romance option, flirt and have the potential for romance right from the outset, or nah, I'm not up for romance. You get to opt into the dating sim portion of it, which is really cool. So I think it being sort of an opt-in at that point, I'm up for romance and I'm up for romance with multiple people. That could be an option that you would put in right at the beginning. If I was going to design a dating sim or virtual novel with that would be where I would sort of put that. That's where you branch off into those scripted moments being a thing that you start to tap into. And if you don't tap into that track, you're not going to see those possibilities. In the same way that, yeah, if you tap into the ace option for this, that romance stuff doesn't happen. It's probably, I haven't done an ace playthrough of this game yet. I'm waiting to finish romancing everyone. But if you do decide to do an ace playthrough, I'm pretty sure that like when you hit the romance portion of it, it would be more like, let's go be best friends and hang out together because you're like my favorite person to hang out. But without the romantic portion of it. And I can see in the game where you would lift some chunks out and change some scripted bits. So you're thinking about Teo and Naomi. So I have done both Teo and Naomi now. really different dates, really different playthroughs. I've also done the final battle. You're going to hit a point, and Iris will tell you this, you're going to hit a point where your options are now limited. And you cannot pick from all 4 or 5 personality options. You can only pick options from your top, from the things that you're top rated. I don't think you run into those until like maybe chapter 4, 3 or 4 maybe, somewhere around there. There are 8 chapters. Yeah, okay, that happens when you talk to Hamza. Yes. Yeah, you don't get to use every option. You get to use the options that are truest to the self that you've built so far. The romance chapter, like the chapter where Iris is like, you're going to get to ask someone on a date at the end of this chapter. There's a bevy of opportunity to course correct there and spend time with someone that you haven't spent enough time with yet, or to like up your personality in certain aspects if you want to do certain things. And before the end game as well, you have a whole option of like hanging out with different people if you want to up your relationship with those people before you finish the end game, and shifting your personality. Going into my last playthrough before this one, it was sort of like, well, I could be quirky or I could be forceful. And I was able to put enough points into quirky. I had been like very heavily forceful or gutsy. And I was able to course correct into quirky and be solidly quirky going into the end game. The end games are very different depending on your personality. I've done the kindly, the gutsy, and the quirky now, so I'm going for steady this time. I was trying to romance Gavin this last time, and I wasn't able to get my relationship with him high enough to romance him in this playthrough. But my choices this time around were Ashley or Percy, and there's a lot more to both Ashley and Percy than you realize right from the outset. Like a lot more to both of them than you would think early on. Which, yeah, it's really awesome. I love that, like, there's so much more to these characters. Like Percy, you know some stuff about Percy by, like, the end of early game. You know that there are certain things that he really loves, and there are certain things that are up with him that you didn't know otherwise, that like you wouldn't have necessarily known otherwise. Because there are things that happen in the plot of the game, in the course of the game. His reasoning behind certain things, why he's doing what he's doing, is not immediately obvious unless you really get to know him. And I did not get to know him very well in my first playthrough of the game. But I made a point in this playthrough of really getting to know him well. And really befriending him. I actually managed to get a much better ending with him last time. And Ashley was my big surprise. I got a revelation from Ashley this playthrough that I was not expecting at all. And I'm so thrilled about it because it actually undid an earlier criticism I had of the game, and it made me really happy. But I know dat butt. She's real butt-tacular, isn't she? Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what my criticism was because it'll give it away. But I had a criticism of the game that no longer holds water. And actually puts it on me that I was putting some expectations on a character that I should not have. So that's on me. Yeah, it does look uncomfortable. I mean, I guess if it's supportive enough. She's probably fine. I don't know. I mean, wear what you like. She seems to be liking it. I'm not thrilled with... So I love these figures. I'm not thrilled with the sculpt of like all of her neck pieces and stuff. It just ends up coming across as very, I don't know, very messy, very muddy. Cozy. Cozy blankets. That sounds really good. I would say when I go home, like when I leave here, I'll go like get nice and cozy. So we're going out with my mom, which is also awesome. Good. So Pi, I have discovered that Kathleen's Brave New Faves playlists are up on Spotify, because I am never awake enough to stay up on the Saturday nights when she does her streams for the whole things.
Because like you're able to like rotate the block.
But if you want to listen to her music options,
Well, the thing is, you're allowed to. Okay, so the last person doesn't work on the dragon.
so there's no VOD of them, but they are on Spotify. If you search for Brave New Faves, or you search for a user named Andrew, just Andrew. I'll send you the link. I'll give it to you at some point. But that does get you to all of her playlists. Yeah. Yeah, there are no VODs, so you can't like watch her responding to them or talking about them, or people from the chat sort of chatting about them. So you can't like have the group listening experience that is the stream, but you can listen to the music. I will send you a link. Because there's no way on a Saturday night I can stay up that late.
Also, like, if you know you're bad, like, if you get 90, like, you're 7 out you're bad, and then you're 80, right? Like, you improve by 10. Like, okay, that's still worth it. Yeah, but some people just get 5 to attack.
Yeah, I definitely need to have music in my ears right now. It's noisy downstairs. Yay! I'm glad. Not all of her music is my thing, but it's enough of my thing that I really like listening. Like, I like checking out her stuff to see if it's stuff that I like.
Let's say you're like at 3 lines, right? So like you have like 2 dots. And then you get like 6 lines, like you go like so that's what you're doing. The next block I have are square, I block, and Z block. Like there's no way you can actually like clear to do the 2 flips. Right. So like if you don't have a clear other side block, you just die to the track. Hold on. Because the thing is, I know that when I see that I on it, it's like I don't want to attack quite yet.
That is weird. But kind of cool. Huh. Weird. Huh.
And then they're always the same colors. It's always purple tees, blue eyes. Unless you're talking about like Texas Master, which game
Round 2 going up now.
extra lines, it's like at least like 200 which is a full game. No, we put a full lines.
I want a rig for Peter. Playing the two stupidest decks in standard.
So what game did you pick? Which arcade game did you pick from Hamza? Freeze Invaders. I just picked that one. I picked Wyvern Keep the first time, which was kind of cool. Not a big hit with the Funplex denizens, but I sure liked it. Is there a Loading Ready Live tonight? I'm going to look it up. Phrase Invaders actually does well later on. So, yeah, I know they moved to only one a month, and I can't remember when the next one was going to be. No, it's not tonight. It's next Saturday. Okay. Hey, how's it going? I'm not thrilled with how her feet are sculpted because they're almost sculpted like into the base. So yes, the bot is back. So the bot, Andy forgot to start the bot up last night, and by the time we realized it wasn't running, it was way too late in the evening. We were too busy chasing that time breaker. Going good? I'm glad. And thank you. I'm having a lot of fun with these. Bot breaker. Yes, very much.
She disappeared maybe 5 days ago. She had snowstorm covered up with her. And then I'll play. Helping you find one time they get
You know, there are cards that give more than the negative 1K.
I go and play maybe 10 What is it? You go into the same bar. Cool. Bartender. I would like a room. Okay. Probably 1 to 2 nights. Maybe 3. I don't know. How about 1? Just give me 2 gold. 1 and 5 first. 5% of 1 in 50. So I can't do this. Fine.
Yeah. I went into Kate's stream one day and I was like, there were only like 8 people. How's that even possible? And it's because she hadn't actually started streaming yet and she had just gone live and I managed to be like one of the first people in. I know she worries about it. I mean, it's her livelihood, so of course she does. But I know she worries a lot about it.
Wait, I get to attack twice.
I'm not gonna wake you up. You're stupid.
I'm just gonna pick him up and carry him this
Yeah, about like viewer counts dropping, about people like losing interest in what she's doing and having to diversify and not really knowing what people want to see. She sort of has to always be on the pulse of what people are interested in, but she has to be interested in doing it too. So that's a really hard balance. Fortunately, she's got, I think, enough of an audience of people who just like her and want to like see what she's up to and what she's doing. That I don't think she's in too much danger of like just tanking. She's got a really good supportive community. Yeah. I know TQ has talked a bit about that too, about like finding that happy medium between doing what you want to do because it makes you happy and doing the thing that allows you to get enough viewers to make a living at doing it. Yeah, same. I mean, I really started to enjoy watching PUBG. I know I would be absolute pants at playing it, but I started to really enjoy watching her play it because, well, you know, she would like protest, oh, I'm not that good at it, I'm not that good at it. She was very good at it. She may not have been pro player good at it, but she was very good at it. She still is very good at it. But she would like protest that. But I thought it was fun to watch her, and it could be really chill sometimes to just have it in the background. I know, right? Exactly. And that's the like major conflict between Naomi and Gavin in Arcade Spirits.
Eagles are getting me hot there.
Oh wait, I get this. We also get this really large person in this town.
Do you want a tiny spoiler? I'll whisper you a tiny spoiler if you want it, because I don't want to say it out loud, but I'll whisper you a tiny spoiler. I'm going to whisper to you then. Yeah, I don't want to spoil in like on stream for anyone who might be watching or who watches the VOD later or the video on YouTube. But so I sent Jules a private message about it. It's not like massively spoilery. It's not one of those things where it's like it's a major plot point of the game, but there's a thing that is possible to do in the game. Yeah, but it's also nice just also for like if someone was lurking or if someone is watching the video later. I don't want to spoil a game for someone else by accident like that. A game that's been out for like a gajillion years, I'm not going to be as worried about, but this game came out this week. Always better to err on the side of caution for something like that. I feel like adding the turquoise bits gave that necklace a lot more definition, and I'm a lot happier with it than I was. So I made her necklace in her original garb a little more elaborate than the one that she's wearing later on. And my thinking behind that is that I feel like it's the sort of piece that she could have broken bits off of. It's gold. Yeah, I know how you feel about spoilers. And that's why I whispered Jules instead of saying it out loud. All right. Bye. Thank you for popping in. My thinking for why I'm going a little more elaborate on her original necklace is that it feels like it's this pieced collar, you know? It's got all these bits of gold in it. And it feels like the sort of thing where she could have broken some pieces off of it to sell them if she needed money at some point, or if she needed like something to trade. And so I like the idea of her being able to sort of leverage a piece of, yeah, the turquoise is very in flavor. And I feel like, so in the necklace that she's got later, it's got fewer stones left in it. And it definitely is sculpted differently, but it's the same, but it's not quite the same. So my feeling is that as she's gone through her life, she's taken pieces off, she's taken these shoulder pieces off, she's sold a bunch of these pieces, but she still has one of the arm cuffs, she still has most of the necklace. The necklace isn't quite as elaborate on the back, she's missing some bits on the back now, but she's been able to retain some of it, and it's something that's important to her, and that she's able to like leverage sometimes, but not only when she's desperate, is my feeling for her. She's not someone who's just going to use it for nothing. She's going to use it when she doesn't have much of another option. All right, so I'm gonna do her Makwahuitl. We're gonna start with a lighter brown. And then we're gonna work down from that with a wash. Someone's on the stairs. Hey, it's Derek.
Are you live?
I am live. Would you like to see some of my work?
Is my green bag up here? Or is that
Yes, it is. It's right here.
grab a big portion? These are the old school versions?
This is the like expansion pack
Yep.
stuff. So
Oh,
yeah,
it's either the new or the old.
yeah,
Or the-
yeah. I'm real happy with how he came out.
Is this the Kurgan?
Yeah, that's modern Kurgan. Giant pain to paint, but because it's all black with like silver details. But I'm pretty pleased with how he came out.
Is he bald?
He is. So he's bald. He shaves his head in the middle of the movie,
Yep.
or towards the beginning of the movie,
remember that.
and he's got like stubbles. So his skull is dark. It's like shadowed almost.
Okay.
So I dry brushed a little onto him.
Yep.
And then he's got on the side of his head, he's got the skull tattoo, and it trails away into hair that he's left as a ponytail that's a tail off the end of the tattoo. So I painted that in.
Those are great.
Thank you. And this is she's the modern version. She's from the base game,
Yep.
and this is her ancient form. I'm working on her right now. I was about to work on her sword.
This is a great D&D form too.
Isn't she fantastic? I have to do blood spatter on her, so I'm going to have to figure out how to do that. Because she's supposed to have like just killed a conquistador. So
I don't know
I
how well it was splattering, but definitely use that blood.
the blood for the blood god. That's what I was thinking. So I was thinking of using like bits of napkin to cover up portions of her that I don't want to splatter, and to sort of blanket the space,
Yeah.
and then take this brush, because it's got a relatively narrow,
Yep.
but it's
yep.
also relatively stiff,
Yep.
and use that as my splatter.
That'd be awesome.
So yeah, that's my plan for that once I finish her sword. So I've got to do her sword. This is the modern version of her. So I just put base coats on her. What I'm going to do is finish doing like the detail work up in the mask and a wash,
Yep.
and do her sword and a wash on the helmet, and then let that dry, and then go in with the blood spatter for her. That's my plan on her.
Jeans on the side. Looking good.
I'm really pleased with how those jeans came out. They're supposed to look like semi-acid wash because they're like 80s.
Yep.
And he's got his beat up leather jacket, so I need to do some touch up on the shirt on him and his sneakers. He is legit wearing like white sneakers in that final scene. So yeah, that's who I've got done. The base game is done. They are as finished as I can make them. So yeah.
That's great.
I'm really
Are you going
pleased.
to christen these with a gameplay after?
Oh God, yeah. This has got to be a stream game. You want that?
Me to come around, or I just need to get a big brush out.
Yeah. Let me just get that box off from on top. I just end up keeping them.
Those two left ones would be perfect.
I end up keeping them to my right so that I can be right into.
Grab those two also. Thank you.
Are you working on terrain for?
Gonna get the base table done. I think Allie's coming in a little bit.
Nice.
Assist. How long you on for?
Probably until Andy's done, so another hour or so. Yeah.
Cool.
It's almost 5. So yeah, that's the plan. I gotta do her sword washes on her and then let her sit. I am especially pleased, and I don't know if you noticed, the pheasant feathers on her mask are striped. If you look up pheasant feathers, they're actually brown and white striped.
Nice. Yeah.
And I'm real pleased with getting that done.
That's really good.
I was like, oh my God, they're tiny stripes.
I nailed that.
So it's meant to be a feathered headdress.
Yep.
I looked up like Mayan like dancing outfits, because there are festivals where people wear like traditional garb for like indigenous peoples of Mexico or wearing in Colombia and like Mesoamerica.
Yeah.
They're modern ancestors of and direct, descendants.
Wearing stuff.
And they at festivals they will wear what is culturally, relevant. And I was like, okay, then maybe not quite as much skin in most of those outfits, but it gives me sort of a color, direction to go in. And the headdresses they don't necessarily have a skull mask, but that sort of crown that comes across the forehead and the crown of the head with feathers coming up and out, that is 100% actually a traditional, like that is legitimately a thing that people wear in these festivals, that you can track back to illustrations that we have found that are traditional. And so they did a decent job with that. I'm pretty pleased with that. So yeah. Pheasant and the pheasant feathers, if you look up the masks, pheasant feathers are the things that are coming out to the sides and out like this, and they're all those dark brown and white stripes all the way out. So, and then they usually have like a color that's the primary color of their costume is the color of the other feathers that are at like the crest of the mask. 2-ish, 3-ish. So this guy I did in like an hour or 2. He came together so fast.
Yeah, I guess the black's kind of
The black, but look at his armor. He's got a ton of metallic armor and stuff, and for whatever reason, he moved real fast for me. I did not need to spend a ton of time. Derek says hello, or Andy says hello, Derek, from downstairs.
Hello, Andy.
And so have you heard about the Ravnica game we're going to be doing? Do you know about the...
Yeah, when is it?
I'm real pleased. Not tomorrow, but the Sunday. It's the 24th.
How was the...
Yeah, not tomorrow, but the week from tomorrow.
Okay. How was the new box?
It was awesome.
It was good?
It was awesome, yeah. You're going to be here when we're leaving? I'll come down and I'll tell you about it. It was super, super cool. Yeah. Thank you. So, FYI for the chat, the thing that Derek asked about, the thing at Bob's, was a Artemis party. Artemis is a starship piloting sim that you play on multiple computers, which is really cool. It's really, really neat. And the idea behind it is that you are an officer on a starship bridge, and you and the rest of your crew have to go do missions. And it's really fun. It's a really fun game. And during our Extra Life game, or our Extra Life event, Derek's friend Bob brought his Artemis setup to the store and set it up under the loft. So the whole time we were playing games up here in the loft, there was sort of a continuous game of Artemis happening downstairs. And we're talking like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 6 or 7 computers, and a giant projection screen to project the main screen of the whole thing. And so you can have multiple people in different roles. You can have a science officer and an engineer, and you want a navigator, and you want, what else do you want? You want weapons. So you want to have all your different officers on your bridge. And then all together, you and your officers and the captain go and complete missions, which is really, really cool. And I like playing science. I find science is a lot of fun. I've played science several times now, and Bob set it up in his house, his den and dining room area, and had a bunch of people over, and we played Artemis. It was really, really fun. It was a really good time. He's also got a lot of lights that he sets up that are hooked into the system. So the idea being, when you go to red alert, the lights all shift to red and go to, and like flash on a red alert. When the shields go up, there's a light panel that lights up in blue, so you know the shields are up. It's all very good. All right. We gotta let that sit before we put a wash on it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a wash on the helmet. And we're going to do a wash on the, yeah.
Seems necessary.
All right.
And I was just like, I'm happy that I have the gold vendor card. I found that out. I found while I was in Maine. I walked up because I was on the stage where my friends were at 5 miles. It was 5 miles. So it was 4.75 to the nearest shop. I was just happy. I was a $50 a mile. The only reason I thought, when you take I'll never go back.
Yeah, you draw the land.
You guys are fine. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I've had like that for years now. It's just a yearly expense that I'm taking.
Wait, I just realized. It's not good against you either. I think the only deck that's like actually decent, like trading off of it, having a big watch that is so bad. But like it's awesome. You just pay 8 mana and take 2 of the creatures. It's so good.
I thought we already said it all this, but apparently I don't have the rules. It's still mad. I was not involved.
Ugh. That was a bloop. So I'm gonna be honest here. I feel like she would have needed to replace the obsidian pieces in her blade a couple of times over the, couple hundred years that she's been using it. I kind of feel like these are not the same obsidian pieces that were in the original, like the original blade. Those pieces probably like chipped or snapped, because she doesn't seem like someone who takes it easy. So
That's my personal take. I haven't played Nash recently, so I just could not get I think Hector Man I mean,
there will be photographic evidence. He's like, yeah, it is. You look so happy.
I am
They went over a racer with really?
We're gonna let her sit for a bit, and then we'll do some more detail work on her. Nope, that wasn't the right gray. There we go.
Once per day if you're falling.
It's not quite usually you can actually angle you can do it.
Plus 3 chainmail that's so fine that I What Healthy Train gets real. Is that the
everybody in the world?
I don't think I have that process.
No,
I had copies. Yeah. When I first started playing, yeah. I don't think I have that copy. Yeah, but it'll work. Now it costs like $10 a year. It works to the capacity it makes it. That's it. Your wife died. It's good, bro. Hey, Lloyd.
highlighting on him. Just gives him a little more definition. I have to look something up.
And even then, that's not enough. I think I may die. Not quite sure.
Cool. It has a gold Tsuba. Tsuba? Is that what I looked it up and figured it out for Naminaga. It's the Tsuba. Got it right. And it is gold. It's not really the gold I want. Really is a very bright gold, though. I end up finding that like the bright gold is a little too yellow, and the antique gold is a little too dark. So I like to mix them.
Give you an idea of, alright, so this one you're saying, I'm good.
Walk in the woods. Found the dollar. You walk in the woods. Go up. He's like, sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But hey, I love the floor when it goes down and that, like you get a choose a theme. You can choose a theme, and so every time I went to a new set, it would put a rock in a guitar reference, like, this is so stupid, it's so good. Alright, morning come. Yeah. Fire dies, you guys have money. I'll choose check my I'll choose one. Library Babel, Dexter.
Okay, he's got to sit. I feel like she's as detailed as I can make her without messing her up. All right, so we're about to do something very dangerous. I'm trying to get everything out of the way, and I was like, I'll move this. That's the camera. I'm going to want that. All right, we're going to do a test. Because I haven't played with this particular thing before. This is Blood for the Blood God, which is a technical paint. Yeah, that works. Do I want a wider brush for this, though? Oh, yeah. Look at that blood spatter I just got. I want exactly that across her.
Like we just said, the climate has to be here. I don't know what's wrong with
I don't think this deck can win. Like I actually don't think.
Yeah, that was a Russel. Very disgusting.
How many points?
That's a 14 armor.
My was right. It just looked like every time I tried to do anything.
I'm not getting the splatter I want. It's just all coming off on my finger. I got such a good splatter that one time. Well, let's wash this off. Let's try again. I don't know, how did I do that one perfect flick?
Are you saying I don't have 75 cents of that? I just don't have my... Because it's Jesse's thing.
Well, Chris said he was alive on her name. I didn't check the ticket.
Yeah, I'm not getting the... I did it once perfectly. And apparently that's the only perfect one I will ever get. How did I do that?
That's how you properly play tournament together.
Here we go.
And I know my rolling when it comes to stats.
If the one door you haven't got in there was your turn. Whatever. It's not like it's so great.
What do we think? So unfortunately, this is the paint that I have. I don't really have a great way to mix it. And part of what Blood for the Blood God, like what this particular paint does is it behaves like blood. Like it pools right and it clots. Oops. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. It did what I wanted to do. She's got a nice spatter here. She's got a couple of spatters here. She's got a few on her legs. And I'm certainly splattering all over here.
That's a direct attack. Plus, if you play it again and clock yourself, that's damage.
There we go. Oh yeah, she's real bloody. That worked. Of course, it looks like I have like cut myself and bled all over the place. This stuff is pretty impressive. It did to my nail. Well, this nail polish is coming off anyway, so. That totally stained my nails. That's really funny. And it's like under my nails. Oh well. I'm really happy with how that came out though. Yeah. Blood for the blood gun. I got a smear of it up on the helmet. Look at this. I'm really proud of that. I'm real pleased. Yeah, that stuff is great. So that's a technical paint. The technical paints are supposed to be paints that do things. Thank you. I'm really, really pleased with how that came out. Because I didn't want really big splatters, you know? All right, we're going to touch up her sword. And actually, you know what? I'm going to keep Blood for the Blood God out. Because I want to add a little bit of blood to one edge of her sword. Yeah, she done. I'm going to let you in on a thing, Andy. She has done quite a few murders. Yeah, let's touch up the black on the edge of her blade. And then we're going to go in and do another coat on Amy, on some of her stuff. And then I think we're going to call it a day. I think Andy is big helmet collection. Big head, big head. I'm actually pretty happy with how Connor is looking right now with Russel Nash. I did some highlighting on his shirt. I got to do a wash down near his shoes because they're white, but they should be dirty. And I want to go over his sword with another coat of silver, but that can wait. That's not like a today thing. That's a later thing. So we're gonna do a little bit on her sword. We're gonna touch up the black for the obsidian. Once I seal these guys, and I probably should seal these ones now. Once I seal them, the other thing I want to do is go back over the obsidian pieces on her sword to make them shiny, because obsidian is volcanic glass, so it should be very shiny. So I'm going to seal them with a matte sealant, but then I'm going to go back over with Ard Coat with a shiny coat. God, all these brushes are like just crimson. Crimson Permanent Assurance. I'm going to go sail the high seas of finance. I've spattered the brush. All right. And see, the blood sort of dries. This is what it dries like. It's semi-translucent. I'm sorry, Derek, I spattered your blood for the blood god pot. There we go. Just a little blood there. She's done. I think she's done. I don't think I should touch her anymore. There we go.
Against one, that's all right. On one hand, so much that.
How giant are we talking here?
Wait, how much you say?
It was that hard. It's either the top or the bottom.
Anyway, so we'll
I actually figured out what I'm doing instead of flowers. She's going to have red piping on her jacket. So I've decided it's a leather jacket. Apparently she does fight in heels. So here's the thing. If you wear heels regularly, you can get very, very good at walking, running, doing all sorts of things in heels. I have a pair of heels. They were actually the shoes I got married in. That I can run on grass in these heels. And I know this because I've done it. But they have to be the right sort of heels. You have to be incredibly comfortable in them. You have to have practiced, basically. If you haven't practiced with them, that makes it really difficult. I've practiced in those. I used them for a stage performance at one point. And I was in a play and I had to wear them. And we had a bit of an emergency and I had to run across a college campus. And the shortest path between 2 points is almost never a path. It's almost always grass. And had to be done, so I did it. So I know I can run in those heels. Heels take practice, my friend. You gotta put in the time. If you don't put in the time and the practice in heels, then you're never going to be able to do anything in them. Because you have to get used to having your balance shifted in very odd ways that a lot of people who did not grow up wearing heels or weren't raised with the expectation of heels just aren't going to have, because it's not natural. That being said, I made a point of learning how to be good in heels because I did never want to be caught in a pair of heels and not be able to run if I had to. Which is a pretty sad state of affairs, but so it goes. Probably too late. I mean, if you dedicated yourself to it, I'm sure you could. Start today. Finding larger heels that are built well is tricky, though. I will warn. Because you want ones that are actually built to support your whole foot.
meme or if that's like a reality.
I know we didn't get photos when we went last time. I don't think it's gonna be
Back at it again.
That's not because like I actually wanted my photo last year.
So I'm probably close to done for today because as soon as Andy is done with his shift, I'm going to be cleaning up. And he should be done like nowish. But, fun fact, I'm off on Monday because it's President's Day. And I will be here. You too? What are you doing Monday, Pie? May I ask? Andy's going to be painting his Tau. Would you want to come join us in Abington? Would you be able to come join us in Abington? Because Andy will be streaming, but I'll be at the other end of the table. Maybe painting. Maybe working on my Ravnica thing. Yeah, you should come join us.
No, but it's wanted to do a few games for
Bye. Feel free to self-promote.
I think the game count was wonderful. I mean, probably not sad.
Trying to go to Domino's?
Well, I don't know if you're all finished, but how long
Yeah, definitely go visit Pi while she's streaming Arcade Spirits. It's just going to be twitch.tv/InsidiousPie. And yeah, Pi's friend of stream. So Insidious Pie has been playing the game that we were talking about earlier, Arcade Spirits.
Oh, I thought this was a 5-piece piece. That's my beat. I guess it makes sense because each one of these is different, right? So that makes sense to me. Play the hard mode or the easy mode?
Yes. Pi is kind enough to host Battleground Games and Hobbies when she is not streaming, if we are streaming.
He doesn't need it until the end, but that's a whole awesome. You need to pull all the guilt out of there and shuffle them to 6 every day.
You just can't
Rise to one of the problems. So 6 times 6.
Aw, thank you, Pi. So she's not a school student. I just think she's wearing like a white leather jacket with red piping. Hey.
Hey.
We'll see. I may not keep it. I may decide to do something different. I think I'm gonna shut the stream down for now because Andy is done for the day.
Back on Monday.
What was that?
We'll be back on Monday.
We will be back on Monday. We'll be doing some Tau. Andy's going to be painting his kill team.
These are guys
She's
that I'm working on now.
working on right now. I'm not going to put them over my palette because I trust myself with that, but not with yours. So he's going to be continuing to work on these guys. And I will be here. Pi might join us physically in this space to work on a Ravnica character.
Yeah.
Because
And
I've
we
got my
will,
Golgari
of
monk I
course,
need to
be
finish.
Playing D&D
Filling in?
on the 24th.
Yes, so the thing that Pi and I are doing, hopefully on Monday, is finishing up writing up our characters for our Ravnica D&D campaign, which is going to be a once-a-month campaign for about 4 months. And we're also playing on Friday, so before that, so Monday in the afternoon at
1 p.m. Eastern.
1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing some painting, and Pi and I are going to be hanging out. And then on Friday at 7:30 Eastern, we're going to be playing board games as per usual. What are we playing? We're playing that it's that like dungeon crawly sort of thing. It's a dungeon crawler sort of deal. And then on Sunday, D&D, Ravnica D&D with myself, Insidious Pi, Andrew Kelbel, who is a friend of the stream. He has 10 Rabid Bears, if you want to check out his channel as well. And my friend Amy from college, and my friend Sarah from the internets. My Highlander friend Sarah is going to be, who's been on my birthday streams a couple of times. So yeah, yeah, she's not in school, so maybe we will see you then, Lobster of Revenge. We will probably see you tomorrow.
I don't know.
We don't know what plans are.
Something going on tomorrow.
We don't know what the plans are, but for streams, we will see you on Monday, and for streams, we will see you on Friday, and then we will see you again on Sunday. I will probably be painting again on Friday, so yeah.
Thank you all for joining.
Thanks for joining me.
Bye, buddy.